Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV. How is everyone today? Hope you're well and keeping safe as usual. Tonight then, what we're going to do is going to just quickly recap last night's charity event, which was absolutely amazing. And I want to say a massive, massive thank you to everybody who joined in. Hopefully, you had a little bit of fun. I know certainly my family were watching it on the TV, so they're streaming it on the TV, and I'm sure there were others as well. Even if it was on your phone or whether it was on your laptops or iPads or whatever, and hopefully it just gave you an hour and a half of not watching Sky News or being inundated with everything that's going on at the moment, which certainly as we were coming towards the end of the first week of isolation and all the restrictions and everything else. I think most people are getting through the first week fairly well by the sounds of it, certainly the people I'm speaking to, but we've still got a long way to go. And I'm guessing the worst of it is still to come. So hopefully it just brought a little bit of fun to your evenings last night. So right, what we're also going to do is going to talk about football just very quickly. This is not going to be a long vlog. Now, with regards to last week on the Friday Night Social, we did speak a little bit about what should happen next with regards to the football season, and it was just really a round robin. Audio? Somebody saying audio? Ryan, audio? Somebody let me know, is there something wrong with the audio? I'm guessing that's... If you let me know, just in case there is something wrong with it, is there something wrong with the audio? If somebody can let me know, everything seems to be working fine at my end, but let me know if there is. I'm not going to keep going if there is a problem with the audio. Martin, you're on. Is there a problem with the audio? Hello? Can you hear me? Sorry I missed last night. I was watching Father Ted whilst drinking the Blackstone. Being Father Ted then. Audio is because... Jesus Christ, kids today. Hey, kids. Can't sort their own equipment out. I thought they're supposed to be the ones that are tech savvy. Thank you. Thank you, Marcus Brown. Appreciate that. So there you go. A little 10-second delay there because Ryan's not got a clue what he's doing with tech stuff. Right. So, yeah, what was I saying? Last night's charity event was absolutely wonderful. Really, really good. And I want to say, if you didn't see it, go back and you can watch it on the channel. I was thinking about that today. Somebody messaged me saying, is there any point in watching it back? And I went, yeah, of course there is. If you're watching it with a group of you, what you potentially could do is don't cheat and watch it, but set it up and get your family involved and have from when it starts to when it finishes, the actual racing part of it without the introductions is about, I don't know, about 45 minutes, 50 minutes, and you can get 10 races in there and just have a bit of fun picking a horse and things like that. But I want to say a massive thank you to Kian. He spent 10 days, I think, putting all that together last night, and it was tricky, but he pulled it off with perfection. So I want to say a massive thank you to Kian for doing all that work for you guys and for the channel, putting it together. And last night, people on the actual live stream were asking, can we do it again? We won't do it immediately, but we will do it again. But obviously, Kian will need to get new horses and things like that. So we will do something, whether it's the same or whether we do something slightly different, but on the same sort of theme. And we'll maybe do that in a couple of weeks' time to do that. What we don't want to be doing is just constant everyday thinking we are now the football charity raisers of YouTube. No, not at all. We are a football channel first and foremost, and just last night we thought we would do something to try and help all of the frontline staff who are working absolutely amazing. That's everybody, not just NHS staff, but all the frontline workers, from the people who come deliver your milk, to your papers, to, I don't know, people who do the recycling, to everything else. All of those people are equally as important. They really, really are. Keep the country running. So, yeah, on to last night's event. Well, we had a quick look late last night. I'm not looked again today. Been busy with other stuff, but I think we'd raised from donations last night on the super chats alone. I think it was about £130. Plus, we donated £50 as well. Plus, there were several people who were saying that basically what they wanted to do was make a donation to the charity, the link that we put below the video description, but via PayPal. So they would have probably donated as well on there. So I don't know how much that was from those guys, but thank you whoever did do that. Don't forget, if you want to make a donation, you missed last night for whatever reason, and you want to make a donation directly to the NHS Manchester Charity Foundation, you can do. The link is below that particular video. So go over and you can do it via PayPal, your card, whatever, and it goes directly into the Manchester Hospitals Charity Foundation. And even if it's just a little something, then that's great. If not, don't worry about it. You know, we know, I know certainly, times are hard, and everybody's got to rein in and look after the pennies, because the pennies look after the pounds, and things are a bit difficult across, you know, jobs and businesses. So it was more to do with a bit of fun, and if we could raise some money, it was brilliant. Now, also last night, we said we'd donate a prize for the winner. So we made it a little bit competitive in that respect, that there was something available. The winner last night, I think it came down to 3. I don't know, Martin was doing the tallying up, and whoever was doing it, I was modding the comments section. So I think there was 3 people who were on 3 wins, if I remember rightly. Well, Martin ended up drawing it out of a hat randomly, and the winner was Shadow Rundown. Now, Shadow Rundown, please, whatever you do, get in touch with us, because we've got a prize. And what you need to do is send us an email, mate, to mcfcfantv@gmail.com. And that way we can get your prize over to you. What it is we gave an option because we didn't know whether the person would be from the UK or be from overseas. So Kian kindly donated the prize, and it's a £25 shopping voucher to online shopping voucher to a supermarket that you shop at, wherever it is, Aldi, Morrison's, wherever. It doesn't make any difference. We'll send you a little something to as the winner, that will hopefully in these times help you out a little bit. If not, and you didn't want that, it was the option of a £25 Amazon voucher if you wanted something like that, that you could purchase things online. So, but Shadow Rundown, please contact us at mcfcfantv@gmail.com. Just send us a quick email, we can get in touch with you. Kiam will look after it for you, and you can liaise with Kiam as to what it is that you want and things like that. But that's last night's. It was great fun, and like I said, if you can, it might be worthwhile going over and having a look. Let me just see if I can bring up the actual link, if I can. Yeah, for last night. And what I'll do is I will post it below here. I'll post it in the comment section. So if you decide that you want to use the video, and you're more than welcome to use the video to watch back, not to use any clips out of it for copyright purposes, but if you want to watch it back with your family and things like that, there's the link to last night's video, and then you can scroll through to where Kiam's talking about picking your horse and things like that, and you can watch it back and replay it as a live event. So again, thank you everybody who came on last night. Right, so let's go on to a bit of football now. The logo says, if I bring up the thumbnail, and it says "Solution to End the Season," and this was really, it was driven from my side. Was we had, like I said, we had a bit of discussion on the Friday Night Social last week about this, and I just quick round robin asking, what do you think should happen with the season? Because it seems like for the last 4 or 5 days, we're inundated with journalists talking about, it should be this, it should be that, we should be doing this, I think it should be this, and then you've got fans doing the same thing. But thankfully, reading on my Twitter timeline anyway, most of the City fans in particular are going, I don't care about football. I'm not interested whatsoever. But I have had quite a number of questions, this question in particular, asked by people to me and saying, well, what's your thoughts on it? What do you think should happen? And blah, 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 blah. And you know what? I'm not quite sure, or I wasn't when these questions came in. But last night, I started having to think about it and thinking, right, okay, I don't want to discuss this anymore. I'm getting fed up of reading. I just skip over the articles now and people's tweets about football and things in general. There are far more important things at this moment in time. So I thought, right, okay, I'm going to say my bit, come up with a solution of what I would do. And I could quite easily just said one thing, but I started thinking about, let's remove my Man City hat. Let's think of it from afar and think, obviously, Liverpool fans, think of the ones in the drop zone, ones in the Championship, blah, blah, blah. And then that led to a conundrum of 1,000 other questions that I asked myself, thinking, okay, well, what other counter arguments could there be? Financial, that could be a problem. Champions League places, what happens with the rest of Europe? And today or last night, we were reading stories about players being forced to go and be in a hotel for 4 weeks, and it's not just about the players and the staff. It's about who are the people who are manning these stadiums behind closed doors. You've got TV camera crews, you've got staff, you've got journalists, you've got all of these people, potentially hundreds, who are going to be in and around that whole environment. And so what you're doing is taking these players away from their families at crucial times for mental health issues and everything else, and just being with your loved ones, to then make them go into isolation and be tested and things like that, like sort of rats in some testing laboratory. And I just find it all a little bit, I don't know, I just find it distasteful and immoral, if I'm being honest with you. So I started thinking about the question, which led to 1,000 other questions, and I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer to all of it, but I did come up with my own solution, and I'll talk you through it. I'll show you some graphics and some images and things like that, and I'll try and think. There are so many things, so if I bring up something that I didn't mean to, I'll replace it on there, because it is, let's say, one can lead to the other. And I have not got the answer to this. I really haven't. And there are 1,000 other arguments that people will probably make against my solution. But that's absolutely fine, because I'm sure there isn't a right or a wrong answer in this. But this is, for what it's worth, I'm going to do this. I'm going to talk through it, and then that's it. I'm not discussing it anymore on the channel until we have, either confirmed news of it's going to be pushed back until this day or blah, blah, blah. That's it. I'm not discussing it anymore. So I'm going to get this done, and then we can move on with other football chat, excuse me, and everything else to do with focusing solely on getting the country back on its feet again and saving lives. So let me just quickly go through your comments before I do this, because it will take about 10 minutes or so for me to run through it. So I do apologise if I don't skip back to your comments, and then I'll give you 5 minutes if you've got any comments, arguments against it, think it's a crap idea, your solution, whatever you want to say, you can say it. Mingy Wong's on. How are you? Martin's on. Hello. Sorry I missed last night. Don't worry. But thank you all for your great support last night. Much appreciated, said Martin. There is a 0 chance it gets thrown out. What will happen? I don't know what that is. Totally disagree there, Ryan. It's for every chance. Mingy Wong, Champions League final is cancelled in May. Less than a 0 chance. This ain't going away before June. We ain't even at the peak yet. The season will finish regardless of if it's the summer, behind closed doors, or at Christmas. Mingy Wong, will David Silva depart at the end of his contract whenever it finishes? Another question. That's not what I'm going to be talking about, but yeah, you've got all these type of questions to ask about your own specific club and players. Chances are next season ain't happening. So how do players' contracts work legally? They can leave from 30th of June. David Silva can legally walk out as of June the 30th. See what I mean, right? This is not about specific clubs and players and things, though those arguments do come into the bigger picture of it. I'm just going to deal with a solution I was thinking of, and this is only my opinion. And like I said, it is not foolproof. There are 1,000 other arguments against it. Catherine Killian with Sean. Good evening, Blues at the Blues. How are you, Catherine Killian with Sean? Hope you're well. Right. Hi, Andy. How are you doing, mate? I'm okay, Robert Lang. Thank you very much. We're going to go into this. This is my solution now. So let me see. There are that many slides and things. Hopefully I can navigate my way around it. I will bring up. I did write a document, and I was going through it last night and this morning. Two other things. So let me just bring up a prompt document for me, so I know what things I'm going to talk about first. Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I've got that in my mind. Right. Let me go to the first one. So, what are the arguments? What are the arguments surrounding the main key problems that exist with football, and should it be cancelled and should it not, and should this happen, and blah, blah, blah. So I just wrote some quick notes, and this is, let me see if I can bring it up. Which one is that? I've got it. Did I bring it up? Or maybe I didn't bring it up. Let me just see if I can add it. Let me just see. I'm sure I brought it up, but let me just see if I haven't. Oh, yeah, I brought it up. 1 second. Sorry, there it is. Right. These were the questions that questions people were asking me, and arguments I've read over the last week, 10 days, 2 weeks about this. These were some of the arguments that I've read. And they're not all my arguments, but these are some of, and there'll be another 30 that people can throw at this. So I just picked 9 of the key ones that why people would argue against one thing or the other. First one was obviously the Liverpool fans and the media and everything else. And even Ilkay Gundogan has come out and made this comment. And he said, there's the whole thing about Liverpool not winning the Premier League because they haven't won it in 30 years. There's so many points ahead with a game ahead of City, and so the argument of Liverpool, it's unfair on Liverpool. So that's one argument, and I can see the merits of that. What happens to the current cup winners, which is ourselves, obviously Community Shield and the League Cup winners. Premier League relegation positions. Obviously, that's another argument with the clubs that are down there, the ones who are just outside of that drop zone. What about the current? What about the Champions League places for the 2021 season? Moving through, what's going to happen for next season? Let's put the Man City FFP thing, CAS appeal things to one side. That's another argument. The current Champions League competition, what happens with that? Because there are talks about surrounding that is going to be cancelled, and now they're hoping, Ceferin's hoping that it could resume potentially August. So again, Ceferin is putting another month on this. He's naming a month. He did say June, then was it July? So he's already looking now at August as a thing. God knows where the countries, not only this country, every country across Europe is going to be. So there's the whole argument of, does that just finish? Do we resume that? Do we restart that? Championship promotion places. Obviously, there are clubs there like Leeds and others, which we'll come to. What about championship relegation places? And then the same for every other league. For League One, League Two, the National League and everything else. About promotion, relegation and things like that. And then finally, my other one, and I'm sure there are lots of other questions we can throw at this, like players' contracts and things, and I'm not getting involved in that tonight, is financial implications on all of the above. Because ultimately, for me, what is going to decide all of this, and sadly, it's the world we live in, is money. Dirty word. But ultimately, it's not a dirty word when, it could be the likes of City and others in the Premier League that could help survival of all clubs and help donate £100,000 to food banks like Manchester United and Manchester City have done, and fund this and give the Etihad over. And so money in that sense is a great thing, but in this concept, money seems to be the driving factor. And we've read lots of articles about how much money people will lose and clubs could go out of business. And let's face it, on that argument, I'd be surprised if every club in the Football League, be it Premier League, EFL, National League, survive this. I think it's a fact. I don't think they will, unless they get support and get help. So that's one thing. Right. So let me just bring up my document. So there were the questions I was asking myself, and what are people going on about, and why are they doing this, and things like that. So the first thing I'm going to bring up, excuse me, is how does the money gets shared around and what happens with the money, because money, like I said, money might be a driving factor in this. So we can't talk about the 2019-20 season because so far we don't know what clubs have actually received because the season hasn't ended. We can only go on last year's, even though this year's might even be more. So first off, let's take a look at how the money is shared around. So UK broadcast revenues, 50% equally shared by all clubs. 25% shared based on how often a club's matches are broadcast in the UK, and this is known as facility fees. 25% shared based on where a club finish in the league table. These are known as merit payments, and merit payments are what we're going to be talking about because trying to get into TV revenue is a minefield, absolute minefield. So on my proposal, I'm just going to talk about merit payments. Then you've got central commercial revenues, which are equally shared by all clubs. And then you've got international broadcasting revenues, which are also equally shared by all clubs. So you can see there's merit payments and facility fees and things like that. And so you've got your TV revenue, which is one thing, which is a massive, huge thing, let's face it. So that's where all the money comes into the leagues from, majority of it comes from. But you've got merit payments. Now I'm going to focus on merit payments like prize money for what you get for where you finish, all right, in my discussion that I'm going to talk about. So first off, I'll just quickly see who is on and who's arguing about what. We could scrap the Champions League and start next year. Yeah, I mean, this is not I'm not asking you the question. This is me going through my solution, and then I'll ask you these things at the end. So I think rather than me going through in and out asking questions, I'll just crack on with mine, and then I'll come back at the end with what your solutions are, because it's not as simple as just going, oh well, we should just do this. That was my starting point, and realized it isn't that simple, because there's so many illegal ramifications, lawsuits, things like that will happen, and my solution is definitely nowhere near foolproof. There are thousands of things people would tear it apart, solicitors, you name it, but it's the only way of trying to look at it from the outside looking in for me, as a starting point, let's say. And that way we consider all clubs in this. But anyway, let's take a look first at the Premier League table. So here you can see, obviously, the Premier League table. We've got Liverpool up there. They've played 29. They're on 82 points. Second are City, played 28. They're on 57. So let's say City were to win that. If they were to win it, you're looking at 60 points. So Liverpool are looking at a sort of 22-point lead as it stands now if football was to finished. You've got Leicester there on 53. We've got Chelsea on 48. And then we can see it's quite tight. You've got Chelsea on 48, Man United on 45, Wolves on 43, Sheffield United on 43, Tottenham on 41, and then you're down to Arsenal on 40. And you've got to suggest then it is possible the likes of Burnley could get in a top four, but realistically, you're looking at maybe Arsenal upwards, but I'm looking really around the Tottenham, Sheffield United, Wanderers, United and Chelsea as potentials for that if it ever came to that particular point. Right, so that's the top. The bottom, you can clearly see here, we've got Norwich at the bottom on 21 points, Villa on 25, Bournemouth on 27, Watford on 27, West Ham on 27, all playing those Bournemouth, Watford, West Ham, and Brighton on 29, all playing the same number of games. So you've got a bit of a jump there to Southampton in 14th. So you've got those teams all vying, maybe Brighton, possibly even Southampton, but mainly sort of Brighton downwards, all playing the final remaining 9 games of the season, some with 10, like Villa, to see who goes down and who doesn't. But as we know, that's not happening as it stands at this moment in time. So if we take a look at the Championship table, I haven't gone through every league, I've just gone through a few. We've got Leeds there, who are currently on 71 points with West Brom on 70. There's a big jump of 6 points then to Fulham, and another 4 points jump to Brentford, Forest, and then down to Preston North End. So you've got to suggest that is clearly going to be between, you would imagine, I know strange things have happened, but between Leeds and West Brom, with Fulham, Brentford, Forest, Preston, and possibly Bristol and Millwall and maybe Cardiff, who knows, but all fighting for one of those spots in the playoffs, etc. So that's the table there at the top. If we look at the bottom of the table, let me just remove our logo there so you can see. We've got Barnsley at the bottom on 34, Luton 35, then a jump to Charlton on 39, and then a number of clubs like Hull, Wigan, Middlesbrough, Huddersfield, Stoke, all on the 42 mark. You suggest Birmingham upwards are pretty much safe from relegation from the Championship into League One. So we've got issues with who goes down and who doesn't there in there. So that's the top and bottom. I mean, I've only picked the two to go with. I'm not going through every single league. Right. So there's the top of the Premier League, the bottom of the Premier League, the top of the Championship, the bottom of the Championship. So, right, let me just show you a little bit about finances. Now, if we take prize money, and I will run through my solution in a second. If we take finances with regards to that, you can see on here, let me just bring up that thumb there and bring up, can't do that, sorry. One second, I'm just going to bring up something else here, won't be a second. Just so I can bring it in and over the top of that one. Where's it gone? Right, okay. So that's there. Right, okay. So if we bring in, isolate that one, bring in that one, and we can take out that one. There we go. Right, so this was last year. Okay, so this is the only figures we have, and I'll talk through figures and things like that shortly. But you can see at the top here, and it says about prize money. It talks about facility, which we talked about before, and also merit payments, and that was from positioning. City obviously were top of the league, so they got 38 million. Liverpool was second, they've got 36. Chelsea 35, Tottenham 33. Arsenal 31 and United 29 million. That's just showing you the top six. And it says there, with a rough gap of around £2 million between places in the league, even the most innocuous of results can tip the scales in favour of one mid-table team finishing noticeably richer than the other. While each club earned a minimum of approximately £82 million in TV money for their troubles in the Premier League in 2018-19, the facility fees and merit payments were variable from team to team. For example, in the 2018-19 season, City picked up just under 38.4 million for finishing first in merit payments, while Liverpool, second place, earned them 36.5 million. But what it goes on to say is that the TV revenue, Liverpool ended up making more money. And with the fact of the merit payment, because they finished second, and you can see it's around about £2 million less last year, but they made about £3.4 million more than Man City in TV revenue because they played 3 more games than Manchester City. I think City had 26 on the tally and Liverpool had 29. So the difference between the two teams, when you take off the 2 million difference between Liverpool and City from a merit payment for who finished first and second, it ended up with Liverpool that made out of everything about £1.4 million more last season than Manchester City did. So you can see that's the way it works. I'm not going to talk about, like I said, I'm not going to talk about facility payments. I'm going to fully focus on merit payments, the payments that they get for their positions in the league, because it seems that is going to be the main core of it, not TV revenue, even though that is a massive thing on its own. It's going to be about the money they receive and who finishes where. So finishing positions with Liverpool, Champions League positions, which is another thing with going into the Champions League next year, and of relegation battles and promotion from the Championship. So we'll talk about the merit payments on where people finished last year. So that is what I'm going to talk about now. Now, I'm going to bring up my document. I'm just going to read my first part of what I started off writing. And this is my suggestion, and now I will tell you why. So to avoid, and these are my comments, to avoid the next 3 months of tabloids being filled with should the season resume debates, why don't the FA, the Premier League, make a decision with the EFL, etc., to cancel the season as it stands now? The current campaign trophies and points remain the same. So City have won the Community Shield, City have won the Carabao Cup. Statistically, before people start going on about it, I don't care. If you want to cancel the season now and City don't win the Community Shield and don't win the Carabao Cup, I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered about stats and facts and things. We start the 2021 season whenever it's safe for everybody. Whenever that is. It could be August, it could be December, it could be January, it could be whenever. Okay, because it shouldn't start until it's absolutely safe for everybody. And I'm talking about fans being able to go to stadiums as well, rather than being played behind closed doors. Now, my next point on this is my radical thinking, my crazy thinking, or my stupid thinking, is that we cancel the season as it stands now. All right? And if people say, well, if Liverpool can't be crowned champions this season, fine. If City can't be crowned Carabao Cup winners, then fine. If they lose the Community Shield, fine. I'm not bothered. Okay? All clubs start the next campaign on the same points and goal difference that they finished the 1920 season. So the next campaign, when it starts, the 2021 or whenever it starts, or we resume the leagues on the exact same points as it is. Now, for that, you cannot go into record books on number of points for that season, blah, blah, blah. So Liverpool would potentially start on where they are now, 22 points ahead, let's say, or it could be 25 if City were to lose. All teams will play an additional game from the next season. And that means that if you had, like City have got a game that needs to be played against Arsenal, and let's say to catch up, all additional games will be fitted in somewhere on there. So to catch up with, you'll start the season and plus you'll still have 9 games to play. So, or you might have 8, it depends. You might have 10, let's say. Those teams will replay, so they'll play, like so City will catch up 1 game against Arsenal, so then everybody's on 29. And the remaining 9 games of this season will be played next season, and they'll be fitted in. Now, to do that, it may mean dropping the Carabao Cup. Okay? It may mean dropping a cup competition. It's not something I want to do, but it will be brought back the following season. But the resumption of this season will finish, and the points will accumulate and run through. And we continue on playing the season as it is. Now, that's one option. Or you don't. You just cancel it and you start afresh on the points difference where everybody is right now. So if you don't want to play the end of this season in there, you just start next season as it stands on the points and goal difference and everything else. There's top 4 as it stands playing the Champions League. Yeah, or we can scrap the Carabao Cup. You can create a mini tournament and you can select, 10 teams to play in a mini tournament from 4th downwards. So somebody gets that 4th spot. To appease the anti-City brigade, if City lose their appeal for the Champions League next season, then give the playoff final losers for that 4th spot, give them cities. So if those will say, well, that's not fair because City shouldn't be in it next season, blah, blah, blah. Fine, give it to them. Norwich, Villa and Bournemouth stay in the Premier League. Leeds resume next season on their 71 points, West Brom on 70 and Fulham on 64. And the same through the bottom of the Championship, throughout the rest of the leagues as it stands. This way, we avoid this dirty discussion about, a time like this, about what should be done, etc. Oh, we need to play behind closed doors. We need to expose players and put them in hotels for 4 weeks and blah, blah, all this nonsense. Absolute garbage. It really is. Football will reset after one season. So we'll go back to, in the following years, 2021, 22, we'll go back to a normal season, per se. The Carabao Cup can resume if you want to use that as, an argument to fit in other games or whatever it may be. So that's that. But the next point on it was financial payments. So we take a look at merit payments, and I said I'm only going to work on merit payments. Merit payments are, at the moment, 25% of the merit payments are shared equally across finishing positions. Premier League clubs, there are 22 of them. And now they earned approximately, I'm not going 0.32 or whatever, Premier League clubs from merit payments for 2018-2019 last season earned £365 million. All EFL clubs, because they Championship, League One, League Two, there are 71 of those. They've got approximately 595 million to share between the Championship, the EFL, and Championship, League One, League Two. I couldn't find out how much the prize money is across the 24 teams that are in the National League. But remember, there's 71 clubs in the EFL because Bury are no longer in there. It should be 72. So option one is to share the Premier League merit payments throughout all leagues. And I took the Premier League because 365 million is just for 22 clubs. The EFL's is 595 million for 71 clubs. Now, if you take option one, so that people are, and we're trying to save clubs here as well, and be fair, if you took option one of using the Premier League merit payments, the Premier League, I've assigned them 30% because the money is coming from the Premier League. They would have £121.6 million from the 365. Championship gets 20% of that, which is 73 million. League One gets 15%, which is 54.75 million. League Two gets 10%, which is 36.6 million. And the National League gets 5%, which is 18.25 million. That's if you were to take the Premier League merit payments. There is another option. Option two could be to combine the Premier League and the EFL merit payments together, which will give you the 365 million and the 595 million. Say, well, we're not just going to take it from the Premier League. We'll combine that figure, which gives us 970 million, and we'll do the same percentage down throughout the whole league, so everybody gets a payment. Now, if you take just the Premier League only and use their merit payments, each Premier League club, that's 22 of them, gets 5.52 million. It's a significant drop from 38 million that City got last season. Each Championship club, there's 24 of them, gets 3.04 million. Each League One club gets 2.38 million because there's 23 of them. Each League Two club gets 1.52 million. And each National League club, there's 24 of them, gets £760,000, which I can't find out the figures. I have asked to try, I've searched and I can't find them anywhere. But you imagine you're a Halifax Town, a Harrogate Town, whoever, and you get 760 grand as a payment. That should sustain you through this period now until the season resumes, and because they rely on gate receipts coming through. They're not getting TV revenues like the Premier League. Or, like I said, option two is you combine the Premier League and the EFL and the National Leagues clubs, pool their money together, their merit money, and put it into one pot and then break it down in percentages again. And there is another option I put in there, but I'm sure other clubs won't like it, is the option to buy in Bury and reinstate them at the bottom of the National League. Now, others might say that's not fair for teams wanting to get into the National League, but I'm just thinking about saving Bury because it wasn't the fans' fault. It's not the players' fault either. But there is an option there to reinstate somebody to run it independently, Bury go right to the bottom of the National League, and they resume starting next season. That's a separate argument. So that's my argument to it. That way, Liverpool resume, if we go back to where Liverpool are, so the Liverpool fans aren't up in arms about the whole thing, and people might say it's fair. Liverpool will resume next season on 82 points. Or we deduct 3 off them, or we give City 3, or whatever you want to do with the point system. But they resume as it stands now. Now, either you play those remaining games somehow, the remaining 9 games in midweek, so everyone catches up and has played 38, and all the points are added to next season. So Liverpool could, in fact, end up on, let's say 104 points, and next season they get 100 points. They could end up on 204, but that's not going to go towards the record books at all. It's just going to be, they will be the winners, and all records and things like that on point systems will be scrapped. But what it also does then is it gives the likes of Leeds and West Brom, who are on 71 and 70 points, they start the season again on those point systems. So again, they start next season with an advantage over Fulham, Brentford, Forest, Preston, etc., etc. Now, it's not ideal. It's not ideal at all, and I'm sure people would want it played. I'm sure people will want it actually finished, but the only ideas that are coming out at the moment for me are stupid ideas, ridiculous, immoral ideas about locking footballers away in hotels and staff and things like that, and sending them out to this one stadium and playing 4 matches in an evening, and different teams, so it can be filmed and it'll be behind closed doors. There's also the other implications of financial problems with regards to how much money is going to be lost from revenue from the TV companies, and they want that money back because they paid the Premier League that money. But madness, crazy. You're probably thinking, Andy, what are you on? Are you on drugs or something like that? But that was my idea, because I was thinking this is going to run and run and run. And I, for one, I'm not, but I don't want to talk about it anymore after this video until we get some concrete news on what's happening. Because we've gone from the sublime to the ridiculous. We've gone from, oh, let's play him, let's just get him in behind closed door. Oh no, that we can't do that now. Oh, I know what, let's do this. Oh no, it'll resume in June. Oh, I know what, let's do it. And it's just becoming now this point of view, this argument about locking players away in hotel. It's just idiotic, absolutely immoral and idiotic. Football should be focusing on what's happening in the rest of wider society in the country, and forget this until it happens. But what's going to happen is, if a decision isn't made, this is going to run and run and run, and every week, every month, every 2 weeks, whatever, this discussion is going to come up. When should it start? How should it start? Where should it be played behind? Who cares? Who really, really cares? Where if a decision is made now, looking forward and saying, tough, it's either this or it's that, this is what we're doing, we will come through it one way or the other, we'll make sure all the teams are fairly remunerated, whether it be from the Premier League or a combined merit payment for everybody, so everybody survives club-wise through this, so they can get through to whenever the next season starts and get fans in the stadium when it's safe for everybody, because that's the ultimate priority for everybody, workers, fans, players, staff, you name it. I don't know. I have no idea. But I just find it's a bit distasteful, this constant, and this will go on, this constant debating over it. Now, we do know in Italy today, there was allegedly, I've not seen the outcome of it, and I don't know whether, did I put, can't remember whether I put something up here on it. I'm just double checking whether I did or I didn't. I can't remember. I don't think I did. There is a discussion today of the hierarchy in Italy talking about this, and one of the things that is on the table is cancelling the season, nulling and voiding it and cancelling it and making a decision right now. That's it. End of story. It's finished. But then you're going to get all these answers. You're going to get all these questions, as to, well, who wins it, who goes in the Champions League, who does this, who, gets demoted, relegated, what about the money? What about you got all these problems. So it's not a simple, quick fix. It isn't. And Matt, 1,000 things you could throw at my argument. I was just throwing mine out there because I'm not going to talk about it again on the channel. That's it, until we hear some proper news. about it. But anyway, I'm going in a minute. I just wanted to give you that, and you can pull it apart in the comments below. Feel free. I'm not going to take it personally, trust me. Right, let me just quickly go through. This season is over. Nothing is same. It would be false now to complete it. I'm with you. I'm not sure you can cancel it, Bernard. As you can see here, Andy, what it's talking about, the money in it is silly. The lawsuits will be ridiculous. I mean, it's a Sam City. I know that you posted that earlier. It is. Oh, there's so many things. But it'll take everybody pulling together. It'll take TV companies. I'm sure these contracts can be extended. I'm sure they can say, okay, well, the money we've already paid you this year, we can push back for an additional year and we'll reclaim it that way. But this year, when you're not going to be paid anything, or year 23, 24, you're not going to be paid anything or you're going to be paid, we'll only pay you 30% or 40%, whatever it is, if money is that important, which, let's face it, the businesses. But there are ways around it, but it will need everybody pulling in the right direction and doing the right thing for humanity, not football. And some of the things that have been bandied around today are just border on lunacy, absolute lunacy. Whatever ends, it's not right. I see absolutely no chance that's happening. It's happening for me, and I believe this source. I don't know what that is about. The Catherine Killian with Sean. The link is below the racing video on the YouTube channel. The link I put up before. That's the YouTube channel. If you go in the description below, you'll see a link to the NHS website. So you can click on that, and it'll ask you, do you want to donate? That's where you'll see it. So look for the video on the YouTube channel. Look in the description below. I'll play Martin again at some point. Good to hear, Kiam. Hope Martin is ready again. Give LSC the title and void. Carl, give Liverpool a tainted title. Fine about the rest. There is even less chance of that, Carl, but Leonard don't deserve it. Everyone seems to worry about Liverpool title, about City, favourite to win the treble again. Even if LFC claimed the title, it would have to be delivered to their training ground. But you're not 2 wins away from the Cups. LFC are possibly 1 if you lose your next game. They don't, Carl, because the season hasn't finished yet. They get sued by pretty much everyone in the country. Leeds get 3 million. They earn around. I understand. Yeah, I understand that argument. I do it, but like I said to you, I was just using the merit payment from the Premier League, and it's almost like I know if they would potentially get 150 million, whatever else, for this season, moving into the guarantee for the Premier League. But if they're as good and as deserving of it, they'll get that next season. But it's if we're going down the route of yes, but we would get this money. It's coming back to financial again, and it will take everybody to come together on this for a solution. Because if it comes back to what's in it for me, what about me, this is never gonna. This is why we get arguments and discussion surrounding locking players in a hotel for 4 weeks. That's where it ends up. Everybody is going to have to pull together on this. And if they can't, well, football is finished. It is finished from a morality point of view. It really is. Barry Sains, what about Villa, Bournemouth, Norwich? Do they deserve to go down? Well, this is my point in keeping it as it is. And then everyone can fight it out next season on the points where they are at the moment. And if they're as bad as they are, then they're as bad as they are. Liverpool so far better long shot, but odds on City to win the treble ain't that far off. People are dying, and you want football to carry on madness. Yeah. We were at the Carabao Cup. City, oh, thank you very much there, Rashon. Shows your intelligence. I'm going to just have to remove you. Blue Heart, hello Andy, okay in isolation? Yes, good, thank you. Thank you, Andy, very much. You're more than welcome. We are at the Carabao Cup final, but didn't see you. Did you not? Well, there were about 40,000 there, so I'm not surprised. But we were out and about. We were there. But anyway, I'll let you guys continue discussing this in the comments below the video. It's entirely up to you. I've just given my thoughts. I'm not discussing this anymore. I just find it disgraceful that people are coming up and discussing about human beings being locked in hotels for 4 weeks in training camps just so that this season can finish basically, I don't know what how to describe it. Stroke people's egos, make it fair, make it this, make it no. What? Just because football, winning a cup or whatever, and TV revenue to make it fair over people's lives. Disgusting. Absolutely immoral, in my opinion. But anyway, that's my arguments for today. I want to say a massive thank you again to everybody. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for all your comments. It is a quick one. I've got to go. But don't forget, go over. You can rewatch the charity racing night last night. And yeah, well done to Shadow Rundown. He won the prize. And we've raised, I think, around about in total without donation, around about £180. Plus people were donating via PayPal on the link that we gave them. So wonderful, absolute wonderful. I hope you enjoyed it and a bit of light relief. But anyway, this is Andy from Man City Fan TV. Take care, have a wonderful evening, stay safe, wash your hands, and look after your family. And yeah, we'll move on another time, and we'll be back tomorrow. But take care, see you soon.